Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Legends of Arcadia Genesis. This has been the end of Greg's campaign. Very well done, Greg. Excellent. It is very nice to be able to play under you for once.
I, for one, loved playing with Neal as a player.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's nice to be on the same side of the table. You know, it gets
to. Were you really, though?
I was on the same side of the table as those three. I don't know about you, creator of monsters.
Come now, this is the wrong way to look at Dungeons and Dragons. The table is round. We're all here playing the same game.
Communist.
No, what you're saying is it's everybody against everybody because it's around like it's an arena, right? It's like round like an arena. That's what it is. Gotcha, right? I got you.
Nice. So, do we have any questions about any of the players, any of the characters, any of the DMs, or the DMs NPCs from chat or from our cast? Nick?
I have a little question. You mentioned that Drexel was wearing an amulet. Is this believed to be the same amulet from Georg?
Kind of. So I wanted to play on that. I wanted his phylactery to remind you of Georg's amulet. I wanted Drexel, originally when I created the campaign, my first thought was I want to do Drexel's origin story as like a fallen hero. And so I asked McTacky for like the known lore on Drexel, and then the lore was crazy. It was like Drexel's this being from another universe that fought in the wars of creation, and he came from a different dimension. And I was like, well, that's not going to work. So I decided to throw it in as kind of like a side quest. And Drexel was just a human with overinflated ego. He was a wizard. He was not a warrior, but he used his magic to make him look like a big paladin. And in the vaults of Steepwater were relics granted to them by a god to keep track of. Among them would have been relics from each of the original Lag cast members, one of which was important to the plot primary that I ended up with being the goat mask. But among them were what I called the Tears of Malchus. And this is essentially the phylactery that held his greatest general. And so the tragedy of Drexel is he got exposed and shown as a fraud and wanted his vengeance. And in so doing, grabbed this powerful artifact and was to become Drexel. Unfortunately, just due to the way the game happened, right? Like I had too many side quests and things happening, and we got lost in the woods, right? We didn't really get to do a lot of the stuff in Steepwater. I had kind of built in a bit of a mystery, right?
We also made a bunch of like antisocial characters, right? Druid and a ranger, and and so we didn't like when you captured the cultists, right? There was never you never like talked to them or tried to get information out of them. The mystery part of it kind of got left to the side, which is fine. That would have been a cool Easter egg had we found the relics from the first campaign.
Cool.
Yeah.
There was a couple of other references though to the first campaign, though, right? There was the elves hated humans because of certain events that may have happened in the past.
I thought that was a fun one.
So how many years after the first series of Lag was this?
I chose about 100 years. About a century had passed. Yeah.
Are we all dead then at that point, do you think?
I think so, unless you were a demi-human that could live longer. But I imagine that the original Lag cast, if we wanted to go back to them, would have plenty of time to have stories to tell, right? And adventures, but would have been missing from the world, at least as active adventurers for some time.
What would have happened if I'd managed to free the satyrs?
The satyrs had a contract with a powerful fae of the night in the forest, and you would have had an opportunity to either make a pact with the fae itself or perhaps steal some of its treasure.
Shit.
This is such a detailed campaign world. You designed like a full-on campaign. We had the time frame for a mini series.
I was hesitant to create an on rails campaign. I knew that I wanted you to do certain things, and I was going to make sure that those certain things happened. right? Like visit the skull cave, get repelled, get talked to by Matrical, get the unicorn horn, come back, right? Like that was the main path essentially. But I wanted it to feel like it wasn't on rails. I wanted it to feel like you could do and go anywhere. And so I wanted there to be plentiful amounts of side content that would funnel you eventually back towards the path. And so I spent a lot of time fleshing out all the things I thought you could run into along the way.
Very thorough, Greg. I thought it was great. Loads of great moments.
Thank you.
Ace Geekmo in chat asks, are there any future plans for lag? And the answer is yes. We will come back with more lag, but we don't know when. It's probably not going to be until like Christmas break time when everyone has a bunch of free time. But we will return, and I think Ryan has volunteered to be our next DM, especially since he's not here during this question.
That's 100%.
It's definitely Ryan up next. Ah, there he is.
I think he was saying, oh, he's back.
He's back now.
Were you doing a bit of an old school dungeon delve?
I walked away I'm being voluntold to do the next campaign.
Yeah.
As scheduling allows, I can set up like a dungeon crawl or something.
Don't expect it anytime soon.
Free All Slaves in chat asks, what was everyone's favorite custom Koibu spell?
Mine's the one that does 1 damage.
Did 1 damage to everything.
You're joking, right?
Sure.
So
Arcane spray, right? Is it arcane spray? I think something like that. Something with spray.
Well, there is an arcane spray, but there's also spark shower. Yeah.
Oh, spark shower. Sorry, that one.
The best thing about it is Neal's like, I'm going to make a character using all my own spells, so everyone says they're useless, and I'm going to show them. And see if they do 1 damage.
To the party.
To me. I really like. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Ryan. You first.
I really like Shadow Snap. We've only seen it, I've seen it in Dicing with Death already, so it wasn't like new to me. But
is that the one with the dagger that pins their shadow?
Yeah,
I like that spell a lot. That would have been my choice.
And I
think
like
it's
the
a very
new whole
flavorful
person
spell.
you just pulled out today. It's the first time I've seen it or heard of it.
Grasp. Yeah, it feels maybe a little bit stronger than a regular hold person spell, but a hold person spell is already an auto kill. Like they're held for 10 rounds. Combat's going to be over. You're going to slit their throat if you need.
Don't get hold person until like level 4, level 5. Spells?
Level 5, but this is also a 3rd level spell. So same.
I think it's cool because it has the like grasping a scarf, right? Like you're physically holding them. The opportunity to strangle them is kind of neat. I think that's a cool spell. I just think that the one that pins their shadow is just so flavorful. I think that's really the top
well, you can thank the Slayers anime for that, because I just ripped it right out of episode 1 of Slayers.
Well done.
Or episode 6.
Well, I don't like the spell at all, and here's my reasoning. I've first seen it on Akuba Knights because I got Shadow Snap once by an enemy. And it's nice if you use it against somebody else, but if an enemy uses it against you, it relies on your like willingness to not knowledgeably just pull the dagger out, and then the spell is gone, because that's how it works, right?
Why don't you just pull the dagger out?
Well, you can, and then the spell is just useless, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, then what are you complaining about?
No, I'm saying because your character wouldn't know that's how it works, right? Like you wouldn't try to grab a shadowy dagger probably to pull it out.
I'd probably try that. I feel like
you might,
That's why I'm saying it sounds like you have to be metagamey to like, it relies on you to just being like, I don't know what to do with this.
If you don't have allies, I don't think you can usually just reach the dagger and pull it out unless it's like noon and your shadow is directly behind you or something.
That's true.
I think somebody else has like taken it out from that dagger before, though.
Yeah.
But the one I do like, is actually the detect magic one where you snort the magic cocaine. I think that's awesome, a lot of fun because it also enables somebody else to detect magic, right? So you can be like, would you like to have some of my magical cocaine to see into the realm of magic? And they're like,
let me show you the world.
they will experience, like, you have to think of the flavorfulness. They will experience the world of magic only to go blind 1 minute later. Like, oh my lord. They'll see everything and then they'll see nothing. So I really like that one.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. Why did the ghost elf kid have the same name as the Medusa? Said
I did not have the
Soz.
same name. It's not exactly the same name. They're very similar.
But that was meant to be a reference, right? Weren't they meant to be?
They were twins. They were twin elves, and when the Medusa was cursed, it obviously caused ruin to their family and to their home.
It has come to my family.
Yeah, so the hint there essentially was that they were twins. There was an opportunity to do one of two things, which was destroy the tree and like put the child to rest, as you guys did, or potentially let the child go crazy and then gain a dark ally against the Medusa.
Ooh.
I like it this way. Very sad and very beautiful.
Why does Koibu love arcane spray so much? I don't. Ryan loves it. It's Ryan's meme spray, really. it's a I think that's all the questions from chat. Any of us have anything else to say or pipe in?
Actually, there's a new one for Greg in the chat as well. Any story hooks or decisions you wish the party had taken?
Oh, how much time do you have? Is the question here.
We've talked about this off camera a lot.
I built a lot of things in the town that I would have liked to have gotten to. I think it could have added some enjoyment to it, but it was a good campaign. I think it was a lot of fun. Not every mystery needs to be unfolded, right? Sometimes if the party chooses to go off and do other things, or their attention gets grabbed by one of my side quests instead, then that's kind of the story being told. And so it would have been nice maybe when they got back from tracking the cultists the first time, and the circus was still being interrogated, that they realized that I was trying to tell them they have like captured cult members to talk to, right? I think that could have changed a little bit of the game, but on the whole, I was very satisfied with the campaign. I think it was fun. Were there any things that you guys wish you had done differently, or I had done differently instead?
Well, I wish that I'd been there the session we captured the druids, because the cultists, because I wanted to interrogate them, but then I wasn't there, and then they were already released or dead. I can't remember what happened to them by the time I got back. But I thought the first session with the festival and stuff, I thought that was going really well, because I was thinking this is going to take an hour, it's just going to be a few dice rolls, but somehow you dragged it out into like a 4-hour thing, and it felt like all the games were interactive. And that was loads of fun. So that was done really well. And it really built, unfortunately, we didn't see much of him until after, but the character of Drexel really came through in that first session.
Yeah. Thank you.
Strong animosity was built right away, which is sometimes 100%. Hard to do intentionally. PC is always...
The great thing is... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
The great thing about it is that even though we missed all of the rest of the story with Drexel, when he was missing at the end and we knew he was a bad guy, we were all already on board. Okay, that makes perfect sense. This guy's clearly deserves to die. Just enough from that first session. We didn't need everything else.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, but that's like a personal thing, I don't mind the story not being told in its entirety. I like having all the hints laid out, and you can read them if you want to, but you don't have to, right? Like, I feel with the way you told the story, even if we had not found like the book at the end that explained everything, I think it was pretty clear what was going. I know. But I'm saying I think it was clear like what was happening anyways, right? And I don't think you always need to understand find every single clue to understand what the issue is and what's actually happening. I think it was pretty like. There were so many little hints to what was happening and that something was wrong in the world. And I think that I still felt very content with how the story went, even if we didn't pick up all the plot hooks on our way. Cool. I didn't feel like we were lost and suddenly, this is the big bad evil guy. Who would have thought? I think it was pretty cohesive. Yeah.
What was your favorite moment, Greg?
I really, really enjoyed playing Drexel as the big, pompous, arrogant dickhead at the festival. That was so much fun. I think that would still be my favorite moment.
I imagine before the session starts, Greg in the mirror practicing his Gafaring to himself. No, that's not right. It needs to be worse.
Don't believe me if you don't want to, but I wasn't actually sure what his voice was going to be until the day
came
of.
Out.
I knew that I wanted to do something really fucking annoying, and so I just that's all I knew, and so I just kind of went with the first thing that dribbled out of my mouth, and that was what it was.
That was perfect. Yeah.
What would happen with the corrupted druids if the party didn't intervene? Could you have been able to save them? Says
if you didn't intervene, they would have become gibbering mouthers and attacked just the town. If you had been able to save them, then they would have been able to give you warning of the eyes of Ponos that had been summoned and placed as an obstacle, and given you a way to circumvent their gaze.
It seemed like it was some sort of
check.
Magical corrupted dagger. Like I got the impression that you slice them with the dagger and it
was meant to be a ritual of some kind, right? Like maybe it was a dagger, maybe something that cut into their skin, but it was this cult ritual to bring forth monsters essentially and suffering.
I wanted to say about the favorite moments thing. What I really liked about this campaign is I feel like we had some really nice interpersonal moments with the characters as well in this one, which were like, not always the big speeches, but sometimes just, the few moments with each other.
Moments, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked Rook and Ren together as well, the two awkward people who like have this talk without having the talk, they like talk with each other and they're both really awkward, and Rook is just like, let's just go back to the others, and it's like, yeah, okay, let's just go. But at the heart of it, it's interesting to have a dynamic between a druid and a ranger where the ranger's on the people's side and the druid is on nature's side, right? And they're both outcasts and they're both nature related people, but they're not the same in every decision they make, and I think that's really fun to play. I didn't expect that. I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a fun dynamic. I do feel like we were in the wrong campaign, though.
I didn't know we would be.
I
never planned for this.
Like, I think we were part of the reason why we skipped over a lot of the city investigation stuff.
Yeah, it's possible, but we had a lot of fun in nature, I guess.
Yeah.
Well.
I guess that's true. Who cares what Greg prepped? The stuff that we got to in play is what the story was about.
Well, and there was kind of two stories, right? There was the story of going out into the forest and exploring at the behest of a god, and there was the plot to make great suffering in the world. And so we just had characters suited towards one of those more than the other. It doesn't necessarily mean it was the wrong one. Oh, plot hooks that we regret. There were two versions of the snake ladies. One that had been kowtowed by the Medusa, and one that had rejected that and was like, screw that. They were meant to be allies.
And I don't think you made it clear enough.
I don't think I made it clear enough.
And I got a lot of hate from the party, but I feel like in character there was nothing to indicate to us.
It wasn't.
And it was also
deal.
like the party went in and started. It didn't feel like it was possible to back out at the point that they were saying back out without major metagaming.
I didn't say anything for the entirety of that conflict.
That one's not a regret of like, oh man, stupid players. It was just like that could have been played better, and that could have been interesting, but it ended up being fine. I just replaced the help they gave you with more Gurgi.
I mean, on the upside, I think that it's interesting to know that there are encounters where these people can be allies or foes depending on how you react. And that's just how the party realized, we could have been allies, but we're way too deep in, right? So apart from the argument being really, really long, the base idea that you can have this conflict and could go either way is an interesting one. And I don't think not everything always has to be these people are clearly good, these people are clearly bad, right? It's just that our arguing took a long time. But I don't mind how it played out in the end, If We could have fast forwarded that. I think that would have been solid still.
Talking about Gergi, why is it that none of the party seem to be bothered at all by the fact that Gergi tried to eat my character? Okay, because I was indignant about it. Everyone was furious.
Look,
And he looked to the rest of the party as if like, are we going to allow this to
I
happen?
don't think we
guys?
actually would have let him eat you.
No, of course
Oh,
not.
right. He
But-
tried to eat me the first time he saw me.
Yeah, I was a little ambivalent about
look,
Gergi. I don't know.
you're a
It's-
gnome. Like to him, that's a tasty morsel. Like
He
this is
only
what you get for
attacks
playing- This is what you get for playing a
weak-
gnome, Nick.
Uh-huh.
This is-
He only
no,
attacks
no,
the
no,
weak
no.
people, you know? We didn't want to add salt to injury. Like,
yeah, I'm not questioning Gergi's decision making.
It was
I'm
too
questioning-
entertaining to get rid of him.
he's the sane one as the rest of the party. It's great. I mean, you also chose to save your busty barmaid and left me to fight with the red mist of doom. So, you know, I feel like we're even on that
Hey,
point.
it all worked out. It all worked out.
Yeah, no, it all worked out. Okay, gotcha, Nick.
It was too fun of an interaction to really put a stop to, and we were never gonna let him eat you. But the threat was nice,
Easy
and like
to say
you're
no.
a gnome, and it's kind of worth the while if you do get eaten by a
The
monster in the
idea-
woods.
And
You know?
what about
I think
like he doesn't eat both kidneys?
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially, and the idea was that Ryan already knew who that person was, because like we rolled for it and
Yeah,
was like, "Do
okay,
you know
I guess,
Gergi?" And it
yeah.
was like, "Yeah, Ryan has at least heard of him." I can't quite remember. It was like he's known to forest people, you know.
I hated that guy. I want him dead.
I mean,
the whole time.
That's understandable. I hated that invisible
You know-
stalker, you know. So makes
How did-
sense.
I
honest-
did.
oh.
I was just. I liked how it worked out with Ren and Hugo both being in the back when that stalker showed up. That was some nice.
Yeah,
some nice
it's like there it
retribution.
is again. It's like out now.
Nice.
The same nightmare. Mm.
Noman did not get eaten by Gergi. Did Nick even have to know about the points? Ah.
Get
Well,
to
Gergi
know.
spilled the
I think you
beans,
did-
right?
Yeah.
Sort of. I don't think I ever knew 100% exactly what. I mean, I kind of pieced it together.
You didn't watch the VOD? Probably for the best.
No. Well,
I told him
wanted
if he
to-
served us, he would gain points, and if he got to 10 points, he could eat you. And
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
never
what I
going to let
figured
him
it
get to
was.
10 points, so...
I have to say,
I was
though,
so
Neal,
worried that someone would forget the mouse at some point, and we would just be like, "Yeah, you can have one more point." Greg would be like, "This is the one." How many points does he have? Oh, I don't know. Oh dear.
Yeah,
Oh,
just give him
dear.
another. Yeah, it's fine.
I'd assumed it was maybe Rook that had made this deal with Gergi. I expected
Not
that
even
from Koiber.
close. That was
Not
fun.
even.
No, I think Neal did because he wanted Gergi to carry those stupid mirrors.
Oh
yeah.
my god! Just over some loot.
Of anyone, I expect your character to understand the desire for loot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I've got to run in a couple of minutes.
Well,
To
then-
see, maybe this is more for Koibu. How do you feel about the Ranger and the Druid classes after seeing them in a campaign? Why are you looking like you don't know?
Well, because
Don't you hate
we've
hate
used
Druids?
no.
Rangers we've used.
No, no,
before,
no.
not druids.
Yeah.
The druids have that weird druid-fied club that gets wonky
So
at higher
good.
levels.
It's so
and
good.
So stupid.
And
Oh,
like
God.
Neal, higher
And-
levels. Have you even heard of such a thing?
Good point. Absolutely fantastic
It's
point.
very
Sean.
valid. And I do have beef with 5e druids because they're broken and stupid. But druids are whatever. They're just kind of whatever.
On the point of 5e druids, sorry, why the fuck is it if you kill them in animal form, they come back with full HP? That's so dumb. Like, I'm sorry, if they die in animal form, they just come back on 0 HP. It's so stupid.
That seems like a reasonable house rule to nerf
Mhm.
Druids.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll fix it. Isn't there supposed to be a 5.5 edition coming out next year or something like that?
Oh, is there?
Oh,
I don't know. I'm pretty
think-
disconnected from 5e at this point.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
But I think they're planning. I think there's pre-orders available for some sort of like complete edition, something or other that presumably will be
Oh, yeah.
edited.
Getting a revision.
Yeah.
mhm.
So it looks like it's coming out next year, and then there's going to be something bigger in 2024.
I think 2024 is the 5e like update. I think
Okay.
that next year is a supplemental books.
There's
So they're
still a
going to try
lot of
to
money
sell
to be
us
made.
a reprint of all the current books 2 years
Mhm.
before making them obsolete.
They're gonna 5.5 it, I think, with updates, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that are very excited about it. And essentially, they're saying they want it to be optional rules that will be like backwards compatible, big air quotes,
Mhm.
which
I mean,
makes me think, oh, great, every 5e thing I run is going to be worthless now because everyone is going to play the updates and stuff. And I'm not super jacked about it. I would prefer we just play 5e. I like it. I think it's a good system, or like make a new system. I don't think hacking 5e for improvements is much of something I'm interested in. Like, I like 5e as is enough. And then if you want to do better, like, let's make a real system. Like, let's make a different system.
Early on in 5e's development, they had talked about making it a modular system. That was one of their like things they talked about a lot when they marketed it. And then
when they were
didn't
playtesting it as like D&D Next or whatever they were calling it, it was meant to be compatible with all previous D&Ds, and it kind of looked like it was a little bit.
They changed a lot.
Kind of like a
play
streamlined D20 system that looked like you could just put 2e rules into it. You could put 4e rules into it and use a grid system, but it didn't really. It wound up being its own thing. That was a fine game, but anyways.
Okay, just before we escape into the chit chat, I want to make one short druid comment, if I may. So the reason we were having a druid was because I didn't want to play a cleric. And I think it's nice and interesting to have someone who has different flavor, even if they're very, very similar to clerics. So like playing the druid was fun, even though I didn't get to shape change as part of it. But like it still felt different from playing my cleric.
Which you get shape change at level 5, right?
Yeah, like into a bird.
Yeah.
I could have changed into a wren, so now I have the ability to change into a tiny wren if I want to, which is really cute. So
it's pretty useful as well, you know.
Yeah, but if you get killed in that, you're gonna have a bad time. But otherwise, every cat is your enemy.
Okay.
But yeah, but it was. I just didn't want to play a cleric, so I played a druid instead.
Yeah, no, I actually really like the 2e druid. I think it works pretty well. Like it's a good take on like, let's take the broader cleric, like what are they called? They're called like professions, I think is the broader scope in 2e. Like they have warrior
specific mythos.
Yeah, like priests, and then goes into like cleric and druid. I don't remember what they call the broader thing, but it's druid's a cool take on it. I think that it's like it's sufficiently different, right? While still being recognizable.
And suddenly it makes perfectly sense why hide armor exists, right? You're like, why would I take hide armor? This shit is bad. This shit is heavy. Well, you're playing a druid. It's good for you. That's the reason.
I've seen there's so few games that actually manage to make like interesting choices with armors and weapons.
Right. Well, Ryan's got to run. We've all got to run. Happy Halloween, everybody. Stay safe. Trick or treat well. Throw candy at kids from your rooftops and all that jazz. And we will be back sometime this winter with more lag.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.